Okay, I do apologize because this video was supposed to be put out yesterday, but some things happened. Anyway, let's move on to part 2 of being petty. So the character that we're focusing on today is Lord Eshteross from Critical Role. And this character is based off of my character, the one and only Balthazar. There are actually various reasons why I am angry about this plagiarism. So before I get into the main one, another reason as to why I am very much against plagiarism of Balthazar is I worked hard on this character. There are some characters that are difficult from conception. Conception in the mind. And that is definitely Balthazar. He's a pain in my butt. I didn't know what to do with him from the start. I was going through so many options, and then eventually it turned out to be exactly what he is in the Zarellians and Mischief. I didn't know what I was doing in creating him, but I had to also figure out what to do with him. How does he work in the story? And my biggest problem was, as I figured out, my biggest problem with him was that I was creating him as a passive character, and he works so much better as an active one. So I am angry, and that's an understatement, at Critical Role for plagiarizing this character, because it's they really do not understand how difficult it was to get Balthazar to this point. But the main reason why is that first, let me back up and say Balthazar is the kind of character where people pay attention. If you paid attention to books, movies, television, doesn't matter. If you paid attention to any story and a character immediately grabs your attention as soon as they are on scene, that's Balthazar. That's Balthazar completely. So again, I didn't know what I was doing when I finally got him to this point. And part of what makes Balthazar so compelling, so interesting, and even attractive, part of that is because he's an active character. And they took the details of Balthazar and created Lord Eshteross, who is a passive character. Again, I would be offended with no matter what they did, but this is me being petty. So, for those who do not know the difference between an active and a passive character, an active character makes things happen. A passive character, things happen to them. Popular example of a passive character is Harry Potter from the Harry Potter series. I'm only using this as an example because Harry Potter was popular when I was a kid. But yeah, Harry Potter is a passive character. A lot of things happen to him. That doesn't mean there's hard rules to an active and passive character. Passive characters can be active now and again. Active characters can be passive. It's all about what side are they leaning towards. So Balthazar, he makes things happen most of the time. While Eshteross, he's a recluse. And it's only when others are doing something that he does something. Let's go into the introduction of these characters. because that's really the heart of who these characters are. So Eshteross, he's minding his own business on his estate. Bertrand Bell, an acquaintance, not a liked acquaintance, convinces the Bell's Hells, before they're the Bell's Hells, because this is before they came up with a name for themselves. He leads them to Lord Eshteross. And that's basically it. He leads them to Lord Eshteross. There is a mock battle scene between the Bell's Hells and Eshteross, but in terms of the character, that's what happens. My character, he's walking through the door of Aunt Nancy's. That's the difference between these characters. Eshteross is on his estate minding his business. Balthazar, he's walking into somebody else's place with a purpose. You don't know what his purpose is. You get that he's a mystery. I will definitely say Balthazar is looking for something. He's definitely looking for something. And then as you go through the story of the Zarellians, you understand what he is looking for. But he intentionally moved himself across the street, because he's a newcomer to Blue Ridge, which is the fictional town I created for the Zarellians. He moves across the street directly across from Aunt Nancy's, makes himself a customer there, introduces himself to everyone working there. He crafts his disguise purposefully to be attractive and exotic, sophisticated, to get Selah's attention. Does all of that. Active character. I will reveal this about Balthazar. He is a dragon. Just straight up. He is a dragon. And as a dragon, you definitely do not want this character to introduce himself depending on the issue. There are times that he's fine. But if you are an obstacle in his way, you're going to regret being an obstacle in his way. Dragons do, when there is a threat or obstacle in their path, their attitude is that has to go, that has to move. And I will reveal this since it's already kind of spoiled since it's out there. Balthazar is facing down an army of lycanthropes. And these lycanthropes were former humans of Blue Ridge. They were changed against their will, and if I remember correctly, but I would have to look back into my work, I think they're no longer in their bodies. I think they were pushed out because their bodies are now being used as puppets. But either way, so army of lycanthropes controlled by a witch, right? Balthazar is completely aware of the situation. He has full knowledge of the situation. But he's like, y'all are in my way. And he mows them down. He kills most of the lycanthropes. The fire dragon killed the rest. So yeah, that's Balthazar. He can be friendly. He can be sweet and wholesome. But he also He's not a pushover when it comes to threats. If you are a threat, he is going to act like a dragon would against a threat. And that's, I think, my other problem with Eshteross. He is very much of the humanoid society. So then he does have to play around humanoid society rules. Balthazar, he's not human. He's like, human rules what? Human rules what? Now, he's not cruel. Balthazar is not a cruel character. But his understanding of things is definitely going to be different than a human's. Which is also why, at times, he's a difficult character for me to write. Because then I have to sit there and be like, I gotta think this through like Balthazar would. And it's like, I'm not Balthazar! But I do love this character, I really do. If anybody asked me who my favorite character was, it would be Balthazar. But I love all my main characters. I do love all of my main characters. Just Balthazar is my favorite because I really do understand what he's going through, what he wants in life, and all that stuff. And of course I should know because he's my character. I created him. And as someone who does understand Balthazar, he would be offended at this plagiarism because of one thing. Eshteross is supposed to be an older gentleman. Okay? Like, definitely, I forget the term, but he's not young. I would say definitely older than his 40s, probably in his 60s. Maybe. Balthazar. He's over 1,000 years old, but that's young considering what he is, which is a dragon. Dragons can live for thousands of years. So he would be offended, like, you plagiarized the character and made them older? Like, the other characters would give him crap, but that's only because they're teasing. 1,000 years is, like, I'm trying to still figure it out, but it's like being in his 30s. I would say maybe about mid-30s. Like, from 20 to 500 is just an extended 20. The extended 20s for dragons. I know I never revealed that, but that's my mindset. So Balthazar, he would be more like in his 30s, like I would say mid-30s. If he was human. So it's like, really, y'all? Really? But yeah. Yeah. So I think that's everything I have to say on this topic because I'm running out of time. But thank you guys for listening to this video, and I will talk to you wonderful people next time.